The first shot rang out just as the sun dipped behind the red cliffs, and the sound tore through the quiet plain like a warning from the past. The cowboy froze, one hand on the reins, the other shading his eyes as he scanned the horizon. He had lived long enough on that land to know the difference between a careless hunter and something far more dangerous. This was the latter. And somewhere out there, beyond the tall grass and scattered mesquite, fate was already closing in. His name was Eli Morgan, a man carved thin by years of wind, work, and loss. The horse beneath him, Dust, was his last companion, his last real possession. After droughts, bad deals, in a lonely stretch of years that buried his family and his hope in the same hard soil, Dust was all he had left. Eli trusted that horse more than he trusted people. Dust had carried him through storms, starvation, and nights so cold the stars felt sharp enough to cut skin. Giving up Dust would be like giving up the last piece of himself. Eli didn't yet know that he would do exactly that before the night was over. He saw her near the dry creek bed, collapsed against a stone, blood darkening the earth beneath her. At first he thought she was already dead. Then she moved. Just barely, but enough. Eli dismounted slowly, careful not to startle her. She was Apache young, her hair tangled with dust and sweat, her breathing shallow and uneven. A bullet wound marked her side, ugly and fresh. Whoever had fired that shot hadn't waited to see if it finished the job. Eli knelt beside her heart. Pounding, helping her meant danger. Everyone on the frontier knew that, but leaving her meant something worse living with it. When her eyes fluttered open, fear flashed through them, sharp and bright. She tried to move, failed, and clenched her jaw to keep from crying out. "I won't hurt you," Eli said softly, unsure if she understood the words or just the tone. "I swear it." She studied him the way wounded animals do, measuring truth without language. Somewhere in the distance, voices echoed, many voices. Eli's blood ran cold. He recognized the rhythm of it. Warriors, and not just a few. He worked, fast tearing cloth from his shirt, pressing it against her wound. She gasped, then nodded, gripping his wrist with surprising strength. The sound of hooves and boots grew louder. 70 Apache warriors crested the ridge, their presence filling the land like a storm rolling in all at once. They stopped when they saw him. Eli stood slowly, hands raised, heart hammering. Just shifted nervously behind him. They expected blood. Everyone did. What they didn't expect was what happened next. One of the warriors dismounted and approached, his face stern, unreadable. He spoke in Apache, sharp and urgent. The wounded woman replied weakly. Her voice cracked, but her words were clear enough. "To change the air." The warrior looked from her to Eli, then to Dust. Eli understood then what she was saying. She was telling them he had helped her, that he had not taken advantage, that he had not run. Still, suspicion burned in their eyes. 70 men who had every reason to kill him and take everything he owned, which wasn't much. The leader spoke again, slower this time. Eli didn't understand the words, but he understood the question. "Why?" Eli swallowed. "Because someone once helped me when they didn't have to," he said. "And because leaving her would make me less than the man I want to be." Silence followed, long and heavy. Then Eli did the unthinkable. He walked back to Dust, stroked the horse's neck, pressed his forehead against the warm, familiar skin, and whispered a goodbye. He removed the reins and led Dust forward, placing them in the warrior's hands. Then he stepped back. "Take my horse," he said. "She won't make it on foot. I will." A murmur rippled through the group. Giving up a horse on the frontier wasn't generosity, it was a death sentence. Dust was strong, trained, valuable. Eli was offering his life without asking for anything in return. The Apache leader stared at him for a long moment. Then slowly, he handed the reins back. He spoke again, and this time the wounded woman translated between labored breaths. "You gave what you could not replace," she said. "That means more than words." They lifted her carefully onto Dust, securing her. With practiced hands, another warrior approached Eli and extended a water skin, then a blanket. Then Astonishingly, an escort, not prisoners. Protection. They rode together through the night. Eli walking beside Dust, every step burning his legs, but his heart lighter than it had been in years. When they reached the Apache camp, they treated her wound properly. She survived, because of speed, care, and the choice Eli made without hesitation. At dawn, the Apache leader approached Eli again. "You walk alone," he said through the woman, whose strength was already returning. "But you are not alone." They offered Eli food, rest, and a place by the fire. More than that, they offered something rarer, trust. Weeks passed. Eli helped repair saddles, mend fences, and tend horses. He learned names. He listened to stories. The wounded woman, whose name was Naya, healed slowly but fully. She spoke to him often, asking about his past, his losses, his land. When it was time for Eli to leave, he stood once more beside Dust. The Apache leader placed a hand on the horse's neck, then looked Eli in the eye. "Your heart stayed," he said, "so your path will always be open." Eli rode away with Dust at his side, not on his back. He walked willingly, knowing he would find his way. Because sometimes the greatest strength isn't in what you keep but in what you're willing to give when it matters most.